most of our time on lying. Um, I had this printed out on Sunday because I thought we might be able to start it Sunday, and then I had some stuff that I've been studying along this topic for a while, and I added it to it, and so it made it longer because my study was a little long. But I thought it would be beneficial for us to go through and talk about. So we'll get to that. I don't know if we'll get that. We'll probably won't get there tonight with that. But you'll notice I think it's point 3. And so we'll talk about that when we get there. But it is an important topic. We talk about lying and not lying many times. It's mentioned throughout several passages, but never really sat down and studied too much about it. But hopefully we'll do that this time. All right, let's start out with somebody read the first paragraph, lesson 9, please.
Have you ever told a little white lie? Have you ever been tempted to cheat on a test? These are moral issues most every student faces, because the moral guidelines you set for yourself now will influence your actions as an adult. Dishonesty is a moral issue you must think about now.
All right, so it's like I said, it's focused on teens, but I don't think this is an issue that just teens deal with. And talking about lying, we live in a pretty dishonest society. We think about, we joke about politicians, and we joke about how you can't trust a politician. Unfortunately, that's pretty much the case, because they give a lot of promises and they actually do not fulfill them. They don't care to, they're just trying to get votes. That's a politician. And so that has spread into our society, or it's a result of what our society is going. But we do see honesty is declining at a rapid rate. And we're talking about with teenagers, as it uses the word students because it's going to kind of focus on that and talking about them in school and cheating, lying, stealing, whatever the case may be. And so we see that lying, though, is definitely something that is an issue in our country. 33% of people under 25 thought that lying on a job application was never justified. Okay, so they're saying 33% of people that were polled stated, this is under age 25, that you should never lie on a job application. So 77% thought you could. Lying just on a job application.
They teach you to lie on a job application. They teach you to
embellish
and sell yourself.
Yep.
And a lot of times the person doing the interviewing is saying, I want you to sell yourself to me, and then most of the time you don't get the job if you don't sell yourself. Now, I'm not saying lying is the proper thing. I'm not saying that's, but they do encourage it, and it is something that the applicant that gets it most often is the one that embellishes at least.
Oh yeah, because I remember that when I was working for the government. I read a couple applications for a couple jobs, and it was a person that I knew, and read what they had taken credit for, and half the stuff they took credit for was not their responsibility. And I tell you, don't just embellish it, make it look good, make yourself sound good. And that's the case. It happens a lot. And so it says here 33% think it's wrong to do that, so 77% are fine with it. This is a quote. Dr. Amit Sood stated this: with respect to honesty, people come in 4 different flavors. Some are habitually dishonest. Others choose to be honest as long as it serves their purpose. Still others are bearing extreme situations, committed to honesty no matter whether it hurts or harms them. The 4th type of honesty is dumb or cruel honesty. If you know that your honesty is likely to start World War III or cause suffering for millions, then it might be best to keep your mouth shut. Sometimes we don't have to speak, right? Sometimes we don't have to say something. And sometimes it's best to just not ever say anything. But some people feel like they have to. And so it says they come in 4 different flavors. I thought it was interesting, the thoughts, because most of them is others choose to be honest as long as it serves their purpose. I think that's a majority, because people want to be honest. They want to be honest with people, but if it comes down to it, if it does not fit something they need, then they're going to lie, unfortunately. A study examined 116,366 lies told by 632 participants over 91 consecutive days. First off, that's a lot. 91 people lied over 116,000 times in 91 days. Participants self-reported their lies daily using an online survey. About 75% of respondents did not lie much, about 0 to 2 lies per day. And most lies were insequential. Little white lies, like saying you like a gift you really don't. A small group, 6% of the respondents, had similar low levels of lying on average, but had days in which they lied much more frequently. And so in that 116,000 times, they pointed out white lies. So what is a white lie? We're going to talk more about that. When you think of a white lie, what is that?
Lie makes someone feel good.
Yeah. Definition is basically that. It's a lie to make someone feel better or not harm them or something like that. It's usually generally thought to be just a small little thing. It's it's just not a big deal.
But see, like in this study, if they didn't consider a little white lie as lying, they wouldn't have answered the study correctly.
No.
They would have went, I don't lie, even
Yeah.
though I just told you your hair looks bad.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And I think that's what makes the number so big, is because, and honestly, like I mentioned last on Sunday, we're going to talk about some of the things that are considered white lies. I've said some of those things. It's things we don't really think about. And, as we go through the list, we may say, okay, that doesn't really sound like a lie. We can say that. It was just a list that I found. But it's things that, you think about it. I haven't figured out how to answer this one yet, so I haven't put that on the sheet. But, I joke with the kids all the time. Like if there's food, if there's like the macaroni, everybody loves macaroni in our household. I don't know about you guys. But, the kids want seconds, and I'll go up and get seconds. I'm like, well, I took it all. They're like, Dad, no. I just do that. Well, I didn't tell them the truth. So is that a white lie? Is that a lie? I'm joking with them. I don't know how to answer that one yet, because those kind of things we don't think about.
If it is, then I'm due.
Yeah, me too.
I think you might as well stick before
We're just being funny.
Humor is part of.
I think too much of that.
Some of these things that we study, we just sit there and like, is it hopeless? I can't do anything right,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It's like sometimes every time I look at a logbook, something's wrong.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is we're trying not to look at this and say, well, we can't live our lives. But that's one some would say, somebody might say, well, you were lying to your child there. I don't look at it as lying because I'm joking with them. So is that a lie or not? I don't know.
He'll find you out pretty quick.
Huh?
He'll find you out pretty quick.
Oh yeah, they know I'm joking. Will's usually the one that gets all upset because he likes the macaroni the most.
Can't blame him.
But it's something to think about, and like I said, I don't have an answer for that yet. I don't know how to answer that. But it's if you guys had mentioned that last week, and we brought it up, but maybe I will figure something out. Why do people lie? So this was from the same place. It stated 21% lie to avoid others. What do I mean by that?
I'm busy tonight.
Yeah, I'm busy tonight. I've got something going on. I can't do that.
I got a headache.
I got a headache. Yeah.
That wasn't how I meant it.
Yeah, to avoid others. 20% as humor, a joke or a prank. So they consider that a lie, to joke and prank. 14% to protect oneself. 13% to impress or appear more favorable. You know, you see videos like that, and somebody says, well, I'm so-and-so, you know, tall or whatever, and they're really not, they're lying. Somebody lies to impress someone else. 11% to protect another person. What do they mean by that, protect another person?
Not to hurt their feelings.
Yeah, I think that's more what it's focused at. Try not to hurt their feelings. 9% for personal benefit or gain. 5% for the benefit of another person. 2% to hurt another person. And then 5% unspecified reasons. So this was the percentage out of that 116,000 lies that was stated. So why do people lie? Who do people lie to? This is interesting. 51% of them said they lied to their friends. That's interesting. 51% of them lied to their friends. So, 51% of the lies was to a friend. 21% was to family. 11% was to a school or business colleagues. 8.9% to strangers. And 8.5% to casual acquaintances. Why do you think the strangers and casual acquaintances is a lot lower?
Who do you talk to the most? Probably your family and your friends.
Yeah.
So you have many more chances than just Joe Blow on the street.
Yeah.
Or somebody that you talk to once a month.
Yep. That's right. I didn't think about that, but that's true. Who you're talking to the most, because you're at the store. You don't go to the store every day. Sometimes you do, but you're not interacting with a stranger like that. A lot of times. So, Mark, did you have your hand up?
No.
Oh, I thought Mark had brought his hand
I
up.
kind of looked at it more like your friends and family, you don't want to hurt their feelings as much.
Yeah,
So you're
that's
going to do your white lies more often.
yeah.
Whereas a stranger, you can just be like, no, I think your dress is ugly and not care.
Because
You
you're
know,
not
like,
close to them.
yeah,
It's not a
like,
close relationship.
sorry, hurt your feelings, but it's ugly. Like,
Yeah.
You're gonna lie in that instance, right?
That's along the lines I was thinking. Because your friends and family are a lot closer. But you're right. It's who you spend more time talking to. And so you have more opportunities to say things to them. And so the last thing here was people mainly tell little white lies. 88.6% reported lies in the study were described as little white lies. 11.4% were characterized as big lies. So the biggest part of it was what people considered white lies. So just little things. The next part there I had was, this is just some other information you could look at, but advertising. Does advertising lie? Big time. And there was an article I read about this. It was just focused on our advertising, how advertising lies.
it's like Wish.
Yeah, that place is a joke.
It's kind of you get it and it's like this big.
Uh-huh.
You're like, oh.
Yep.
Or McDonald's cheeseburger.
Yes, any fast food, and you're
Any
like,
fast
I'm
food.
gonna order that one, and you get it, and it's like
Yeah, it's all
a
smashed.
chicken nugget on a piece of bread, and you're like, but
Is it a
that's not
lie?
it.
It's not the same thing.
I think it's manipulation at that point, but it's sort of the same thing.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that advertising really has picked up on that, because one of the things this article, with these words, I can sell you anything. There's an article by William Lutz. He stated that the word help, they've changed that, even the idea of helping, to aid or assist. And so you think about a product, one of the things, I don't think I had it on here, was, yeah, it is, the last part, a claim that a battery lasts up to twice as long. They'll say, well, this battery lasts twice as long. But they don't state how much longer does it last? Like, what's the benchmark for that? They don't state that. They just say,
Twice as long.
And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
something else that you don't even realize that I just not thought of, the review process on Amazon. They pay people for their reviews, they give
Yep,
I mean, that's, a lot of those reviews are lies.
yeah.
Do you know
Our
anybody
lives
knows
are, what?
that? Do you know anybody knows that?
Yeah, I did for a while.
You did it for a
It's
while.
like, I like
There were
this,
some of
but I
them
like
though,
it
I
'cause
was
it's
like,
free.
I can't review
Yeah,
this,
there
like,
was
I
one.
don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it.
But social media is full of lies. I mean,
Mhm.
they're always advertising. There was a advertisement of clothing made in South Carolina, when in truth it was made in China, but it comes to South Carolina to be shipped to you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Also, when you take a picture of a deer, you can make it look very well.
Yeah.
It
When
is.
we were up in Alaska, we fished. They said to hold the fish out like this.
Mhm.
Mark probably knows about this. We'll hold the fish out so it looks bigger.
Yep. They'll do that to rattlesnakes a lot.
Really,
The, like, you know, they hold them way out.
make
It's
them
like
look longer.
I think
10-foot
I would
rattlesnake.
too. It's
It's
a rattlesnake.
I've
wouldn't
never
think-
held a
I can't-
rattlesnake.
I
Don't
don't think
want
it's
to.
dead or alive. It's
Um, Yeah.
David
Seen
made a snake that looked like a worm in real life, huge, when he posted it on Facebook and told the story.
Mhm. Yeah, it's you know, the thing is, like you know, we just had Black Friday. We just had Cyber Monday. I always wonder, you know, you get on Amazon, they say 40% off.
Mhm.
A lot of times it's not. I remember last year I bought something.
Jacked the price up before.
Yeah,
and
they
then
did. I bought something on Amazon and it took forever to ship. And by the time it shipped, it was way past Cyber Monday. And I got back on there and the price was only like $5 more. And it was said it was like $30 off or something. I was like, yeah, that's a lie.
Grocery stores tend to.
Yeah, in grocery stores today, you pull the tag back and it says, you know, sale, and it's the same price. So, you know, lying has really, it's prevalent in our advertising, everything that's on TV. Lutzy called them weasel words. They use weasel words. They change meanings of words to make it sound good. And so advertisings like that, you see that all the time. Another one was dishonesty in schools, which is what we're going to kind of talk about later. How many people lift papers off the internet? When I was in Memphis, which is crazy because you're at a preaching school and everybody's a Christian, you're there at preaching school, and there was people that would cheat by getting their papers offline. And if you got found out, I mean, you got kicked out. And there was people that got kicked out for it. Yeah, just imagine, I couldn't understand that. And they do, they would search titles, they would search phrases from the internet and see if somebody had lifted, you know, taken the paper offline. There was people that had posted tests online that you took at school, posted them online so you could find them. You know, all kinds of dishonesty, even at a school like that, which the school was really big about trying to figure it out and kicking people out that were doing that. But you think about it in some of our others, you know, just regular school, kids tend to cheat, and plagiarism, things like that, is looked at as cheating or dishonesty. The last one there I have is the reporter echoes the findings of a survey that found that 74% of high school students admitted to cheating on an exam at least once in the year before they were surveyed. And so that's a high percentage of kids that even they admitted to it, that they had cheated. Probably not worried about getting in trouble, but they admitted that they had cheated. And so talking about lying and dishonesty is definitely important to focus on. That's the first paragraph. All right, let's go to the second paragraph on the lesson 9. Someone read that?
What exactly is a lie? Is it anything you say or write that is not true? Well, not exactly. Sometimes we say things that we honestly think are true, only to find out later we were mistaken. A lie involves deliberate deceit. Why do people lie? Quite often it is to get out of trouble. At other times people lie to create a better story or make soon the liar is in a far worse dilemma than if he'd initially told the truth.
All right, so what is a lie? Now, a lie is, I thought like how it described it there, it is a deliberate deceit. What does that mean, a deliberate deceit?
You purposely did it.
Yeah. You thought about it, and you made the choice that I'm going to lie in this situation, whatever the case may be. We've already talked about some of the reasons. It could be because, trying to make yourself look better, try not to hurt someone, sound good. But another one here was, whatever the case may be, someone may lie, and a lot of times when a person lies about something, what's the next thing they have to do?
Lie again.
Lie again. And each time you lie, what's it do?
Gotta try to keep them all straight.
Yeah. And after a while, a person can't keep them straight, and they mess up. You end up digging a hole you can't get out of. And the thing is the more a person lies and deeper that hole gets, the harder it's going to be to come out of that lie, right? And the more embarrassing it's going to be to come out of that lie. And so it's definitely hard because in even that, or not only in that, digging a hole, sometimes people will lie so much that they believe their lies. You ever seen someone that's believed their own lies? I met a person who fully believed that he could just walk onto Alabama's football team and become a linebacker.
Was it Andy?
No, wasn't Andy.
I hope he's listening.
He probably is. No, it's not Andy. No, it wasn't. It was someone else. But fully believed that, and he would tell everybody that. He's like, "Oh yeah, I can." One day Matt was doing something, and they raced, and Matt beat him. It's like, all right, well, okay.
In fairness, those linebackers don't be terrible.
Yeah. But that's the thing. A person can tell a lie so much that they believe it. They start to believe that lie. And it's dangerous because then you try to convince them that they're wrong, and they don't believe that you're wrong. And so definitely can lead down a wrong road. And so a lie is something that someone deliberately strives to deceive someone with, whatever the case may be. Let's read the next paragraph.
Although I don't think in this paragraph was a small lie, but okay. Is telling a small lie or a half-truth really that big of a deal? Read the story of Abraham and Abimelech in Genesis 21 through 16. Because Abraham thought whatever his name
Abimelech.
would kill him in order to take his wife Sarah. Abraham told Abimelech Sarah was his sister. Part of what Abraham said was true. They were half-brother and sister. They had the same father but a different mother. Further, Sarah was more than Abraham's half-sister. She was his wife. Part of what Abraham said was true, but it was not all true. A half-truth equals a whole lie, Revelation 21:8 says. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and all liars shall have their part in the lake, which burneth with fire and brimstone. Read more of what God thinks about lying in Proverbs 6:16 through 19, and Colossians 3:9 through 10, and Ephesians 4:25.
All right, so I agree with you. It's not just a small lie.
I think that's pretty big.
Yeah, it is a pretty big lie. And some people try to justify what Abraham did there. Now, we could read, do you want to read Genesis 20, 1 through 16? Everybody know the account here? Let's go ahead and read it. Go to Genesis 20. Let's read it so we know the account. Genesis 20, 1 through 16.
My Bible's making noise.
Mine speaks to me sometimes.
Mine have all these games.
You can just read part of it or share whatever you want to do. 1 through 16.
Go ahead, Justin.
Well,
And
I'm not
Abraham
there.
journeyed from there to the south and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur and stayed in Gerar. Abraham said of Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, "Indeed, you are a dead man, because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife." But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, "Lord, will you slay a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, 'She is my sister'?" And she herself said, "He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands I have done this." And God said to him in a dream, "Yes, I know that you did this with the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore I did not let you touch her. Now therefore restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, now that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours." So Abimelech rose early in the morning, called all his servants, and told all these things in their hearing, and the men were very much afraid. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How have I offended you, that you have brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? You have done deeds to me that ought not to be done." Then Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you have in view, that you have done this thing?" And Abraham said, "Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will kill me on account of my wife. But indeed she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to pass that God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, 'This is your kindness that you should do for me. In every place wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother.' Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, and male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and he restored Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelech said, 'See, my land is before you, dwell where it pleases you.' Then to Sarah he said, 'Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Indeed, this vindicates you before all who are with you, and before everybody.' Thus she was rebuked."
All right, so Abraham and Sarah go through this land, and they find Abimelech. And Abimelech takes Sarah from Abraham. And notice what God said to him in verse 3. And this is where I agree with Kathy. This is not a small lie. He said, God said to Abimelech, "You are a dead man because of the woman you have taken, for she is a man's wife." God said to him, "You're going to die. You just took somebody else's wife. You're going to die." Now Abimelech, he was pretty honest. He's like, I did exactly what I thought. She said that was his sister. And so God told him in verse 6 that he knew that he had done this in the integrity of his heart. And God had even withheld him from sinning. But he was trying to get a point across. And so what's interesting about this account is that God tells Abimelech to go to Abraham because he's a prophet. He will pray for you for what you've done. Do we not see, we don't see Abraham at all get rebuked for what he did. And that's interesting. So some would like to go to this account and say, well, Abraham really didn't lie. It was just kind of a half lie. Because, really, she was his sister by another mother. But he just withheld part of it. He didn't tell the whole truth. And so therefore, he was fine in what he did. That's why God didn't rebuke him. Now, does God rebuke everything that ever happens that we see in the scriptures? No. Now, later on, we see this same thing happen again, and that's with Isaac. Isaac did the same thing with Rebekah. And Rebekah was not his sister, half-sister. She was a distant family member. And he did the same thing his dad and mom did. He told Rebekah to lie and say that she was his sister, and did the same thing. It was a lie. And why God did not put in here rebuke about what Abraham had did, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Sometimes we don't have an answer for that. Was it wrong for Abraham to do that? I believe it was. Unfortunately, he taught that to his child, and his child did the same thing later. And so it was a lie. And some would say, well, it's a half-truth. Maybe it was a small lie, like a white lie. And so he was fine in doing that. But I don't see how that could be, because we see what happened even later.
But if he had told the truth, he probably would have been killed, right?
That's what he thinks. That's what he thinks. I was talking to Holly about this last night, and she made the statement that he didn't trust that God was going to take care of him. Because, God is watching over Abraham. Abraham should have trusted in God that nothing would have happened to him. But that's what he was fearing, was that he would come along to some place and stayed there, and he would get killed, and Sarah would be taken away from him. And so that's why they were lying.
So it's not okay to take a man's wife, but it's okay to just take his sister.
Yeah, which is, I guess that's interesting too. It's fine just to take his sister, yeah. I don't know.
It's an odd time.
It is an odd time. And like I said, why was not Abraham rebuked for that? I don't have an answer for that. But we don't see him being rebuked, but Abraham wasn't perfect, we know that.
This is totally off the subject, but this is the first time I realized they talked about blended family in the Bible.
Blended family? Yeah,
Because there would be a blended family.
yeah,
Because one child was father, one child was a mother, and then they were married.
yeah. I mean, Adam and Eve's kids were, but they don't ever talk about that. But yeah, you're right. This is the first time that it's mentioned that they were siblings. It's interesting. Which, you think about, that's a whole topic about genetics.
I didn't know.
But, I mean, it's an interesting thought because people will say that, well, it was a bunch of incest going on back then.
I don't think there were enough people.
Yeah, there was not enough people. And the blood, you think about it, they didn't have the problems that would happen today.
That's what they almost say, a ton of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a whole different subject, but it is, that's just how the things were at that time. But you're right, this is the first time it's mentioned. I never thought about that either. So, but we'll talk about this some more. This is where we're going to spend a lot of time now because this is the end of the lying part in the lesson. And now we're going to start getting into my notes and talking more about that. We'll look at these passages on Sunday that's in this section, and we'll talk some more about this. Any questions or comments over this? All right, thank you guys for your time.